Today we're taking a look at the NexDock 6. If you haven't heard of NexDock before, this isn't a laptop. This is a shell of a laptop. So there's no processor in here, there's no hard drive, but it is a monitor, a keyboard, as well as a trackpad. So you can use this with other devices. You could plug it into a computer as an external display if you wanted to, but mainly it's going to be used with things like your mobile device. And here I have a Samsung phone that has Samsung DeX, and Samsung DeX is kind of your mobile phone as a full desktop-like experience. So NextDock is able to do all that with this device for only $230. So they did provide this for this video. Let's go ahead, see what was in the box and show you what it can do. So here we have the NexDock 6. You do have a 30-watt USB-C power delivery charger. Then you have a cable here that you're going to plug directly into the NextDock on the side and then plug it into your mobile device so that it can connect directly to it. And then here you have a European adapter for over there as well. So really nice, simple to use, like that charger as well. Now this does have a battery built into it, so I've already powered it up. But while you're using this, if you do need to charge, you can simply charge it and have your mobile device plugged into it. Checking out the ports on the side, there you have the USB-C charger that you're going to plug into. Here you have HDMI if you want to plug in something into this, like your computer. I've also used this with my NVR, so I just plug this in, power it up, and then I have full access to all my cameras. I can even use the mouse and keyboard on here to interact with that. Super simple that it's all in one device. Might be nice for servers or all kinds of different devices. Here we have a USB-A, and then here we have a USB-C that is going to be plugged into your phone. So this is kind of like the display USB-C that you're going to use. Then over on this side, we have two more USB-A ports, and then here we have a 3.5 millimeter headphone jack. On the bottom here, we have two 2-watt speakers. So it's not anything crazy, but they have improved those on this device. And then here you have some nice soft touch feet there for it. Now opening this up, there you can see we have a full keyboard that we can be used, and we have this trackpad. Now one of the things they've mentioned on the NextDock 6 is they've made some big improvements on the trackpad where you're going to be able to have multi-touch recognition, so you could touch with one finger and move things around with another finger, which is cool. You also have a better cancellation of incorrect touches. So sometimes on previous devices, I'd be using this and my mouse would all of a sudden shoot across the screen. Well, this has better accidental touch recognition, so it's not going to be doing that, and you're going to have a smoother experience. But on all of these devices that I've used in the past, the touchpad is definitely something that I think could use improvement. And right now, so if I'm clicking here, pretty good click there, but sometimes I do feel like I need to press it just a little bit harder than I should. Of course, I'm typically using a MacBook Pro, which is a really nice trackpad. So the click on here, you just kind of got to get used to it, but it does a good job. Now next, let's talk about the screen here. So here we have a 14-inch display. It is 1920 by 1200, so they've increased the resolution there. And then it also has 100% of the RGBS scale. So a very nice, colorful display with 1001 contrast ratio, so nice, bright, different colors. Now they've also made it brighter with up to 400 nits of brightness, and they've also added a blue light filter as well as a anti-reflective glare screen. So pretty cool of all the updates that they have, but let's go ahead, test this out. First, we're going to start with my Samsung Galaxy Fold 7 here with Samsung DeX and show you kind of how this whole process works. Now the first thing we can do is power on the NextDock. So just push the power button, there it turns on. But again, there is no hardware in here to process anything. All it has is this one single screen that says NextDock is ready to connect. And then here we have the swipe down for two fingers to show settings. So there we can see some volume settings, some brightness, and some other things that we can adjust and see what is currently set up. So that's all it can do all on its own. There is no other thing it can process. So we need to plug in something. So here over on this side, we're going to plug in the USB-C port to the phone connection. And then here I have my phone turned on and unlocked. And then I'm going to plug that in. And automatically, if this is your first time, it may give you a question on the phone to connect or use Samsung DeX or Mirror. But here it already went directly into Samsung DeX. You can see I can use my phone just as I was, but here we have a whole different interface, which is all processed from my phone. So you most likely know what Samsung DeX is if you're watching this, but that was for the people that have not. So we can go right here. I can go in, I can see all my apps. Now here I have two fingers that can easily scroll up and down on the touchpad. That works great. Now this also is a touchscreen, forgot to mention that, but you can use this that way as well. So it makes it easy to kind of click around, get things done. Some cool things you can do with Samsung DeX. Over here, I have the option to snap to fit left. I can send to other displays. So if I want to see this app over here, I can simply push that button and there it opened the app right on my phone. So a lot of cool combination things that you can do with this. And then you can even adjust the mouse. Like on this background, I can't see the mouse right there, but you can go into the settings and adjust what that is looking like. So one of the things I mentioned about the touchpad is you can click to like move things around. So I can use the actual click to move. I can also just barely touch, and that's going to make a click or a tap as well. And then I can move it. So if I do that with one finger, and then I can use the other finger to move it around. And there's like a 2-touch thing that you can do on this. So kind of cool, a lot of fun stuff that you can do on Samsung DeX. I have a plenty of older videos on kind of how it all works, but this is more on testing out what the NextDock is able to do. So let's go ahead and play a video just because I mentioned the screen quality here. Now on the touchpad real quick, right here you have the 2 buttons. So kind of on this side you have a button, on this side you have a button, right in the middle there's no button. So I think I keep accidentally like trying to push there and it doesn't go down. And then at the top it doesn't click down. That's gonna be your touchpad. So just figuring out where you're gonna touch, but here's gonna be 1 click, over here is gonna be your right click, or you can just simply tap. You can also tap with 2 fingers. I think there's even a triple tap where you can swipe up and it will show you like your recent apps and different things like that. But so far, I do like the touchpad. It's just a little bit harder to click than I think it would be, but with the touch to move, that helps a lot. But I would say this has definitely been improved from previous versions of the NextDock. Now there I received a notification from my phone. I can simply tap it and there it's showing me the live view of my camera of me sitting in here. So it's really cool. You have all your phone right here. You don't have to be using your phone and this at the same time. You can do everything here from here, texting and all that. Now I did mention about the screen. It does have low blue light and a fine anti-glare matte surface. So I don't know what I said before, but that is the appropriate term of what this has. So here, let's go into Google, go into YouTube. Sure, let's play this. And speakers itself sound okay. Nothing like a home theater system, but does a pretty good job. And you can see that's a nice, crisp, clear screen. Very happy with how that looks. Now I really like how sharp this is with Samsung DeX. The quality has been better than like on my Pixel phone. If I plug that in, all it's going to do is mirror it and it's not quite the right resolution, which is kind of annoying. If I want to go back, let's see, we can swipe down over here, then I have the controls. Sometimes it's easier to just use a touchscreen on this because it works so well, so we can close that very easily. So that's pretty impressive. Down here you have other things like the battery life of the phone, but then you will have the battery life of the NextDock on the settings menu that we saw before. Now, as for battery life, this could be about 6 to 7 hours if you have it on medium brightness while you're plugged into your phone. But a cool thing is if you are plugging it in and you're not currently using the NextDock, it's going to charge your phone as well. So that's a nice addition where it's working more like a typical laptop than just a shell of a computer. So really cool there. Let's go ahead and talk about the keyboard here. So here I can tap the function and I can do recent apps and you can see all the apps there that I was working on. Here we can see, oh, there's the battery life of the NextDock. So we have battery life. We can change the brightness here. So we can increase that all the way up to 20. Here we can mute and change the volume as well. Here you have print screen, which is going to take a screenshot. And then here you have insert, delete, and power. So very fully functional keyboard. I love how it is as big as a standard keyboard, makes it very easy to use and very helpful to get things done on the go. Now let's go ahead and try out the keyboard here. So opening up a Word document works great. You can type. Very easy. You have all your other controls on here. And I love how big and full screen this is compared to trying to do a full document there on your little tiny screen. Of course, this is a folding phone, which helps, but nice that we have that. And here, as I'm working on different things, I can easily snap my different windows so we have more apps. And then with Samsung DeX, I think you can open up to like a total of 5 different apps at once. So here you can see it's just kind of popping more open on top, and after 5 screens, it's going to close the oldest one. So you only have so much you can do, but that makes it much more of a useful device than just simply using your phone 1 app at a time or 2 apps at a time. With NextDock, you can get a lot more done on the go, which makes it very easy. And I love how it has the battery built in and the screen quality. This is a perfect device to take on the go. Now, the great thing about this is, again, the price, where instead of having to buy a full laptop and its price, you're only spending a little bit more to have a better experience on your phone on the go. Now, Samsung DeX is going to be the best way to experience the NextDock, but there's a few other options and a brand new option I'm going to talk about that really take this to the next level. So first up is your phone, whatever it is. If you have an older Pixel phone or a iPhone, you can plug this in and it will mirror your phone on here. So you can have your phone, but it's just going to be bigger on the display. There's not going to be the dual display or anything. If you do have the new Pixel 10, it will allow you to turn on a desktop mode. So how you do that is you're going to go into the developer options. You're going to search for desktop and enable that, reboot your phone, and then you will be able to turn on a full experience like Samsung DeX. Once I have enabled that and restarted my phone, let's go ahead, plug it in. And here it's giving us the option to mirror or turn on desktop mode. So let's go ahead and tap desktop mode. And there we have the new Google Pixel 10 Pro desktop mode. So here it's showing the same home row. Down here we have our home row buttons. We can easily open apps. We can see all of our different apps here, and I can use the 2-finger touch to scroll through there. Now I am noticing the resolution isn't as good as it was on Samsung DeX, just because this is a little bit taller, so it is stretched quite a bit, but it does work. So that's great. This is cool that we have this new option that we didn't have before on a Pixel phone. Looks like right over here we're getting some options for keyboard. Here we can see more other options available and even popping out the keyboard. So that's really cool. We have this more desktop-like experience with Pixel phones. So this looks like it's in beta. It didn't work too well for me, but they are working on it. So it's software built into your Pixel phone that's more like Samsung DeX, which is really cool. Now, another option is you could take another device like this. This is essentially a Google TV on the go. It has its own battery life. You can download videos on here. You have a micro SD card. This one was one that I got from one of the headsets that I was using. This is the Homatics Google TV on the go. So is how this would work is I'm now just going to turn it on and plug this in. And now that this is booted up, there you can see we have the full Google TV experience on here. I have an SD card where I can play different things in this device. So this is a great option to use with NextDock, just in case you want to use your phone for other things, but you also want to have entertainment on the go. You can pick up something like this. Now, again, any device that has an output can be used with the NextDock. Again, I mentioned my NVR before, and this is a great option. Let's go ahead and see if we have any videos on here that we could quickly play. All kinds of videos on here. So there I have a simple demo reel that I can play right from an SD card. So really makes it easy to take your items on the go. Now, another thing that I want to show is how you could plug this into a laptop to use it as a secondary screen. Now, this is going to be one of those things where you need to have the right cable. So this cable worked and it was able to extend the display. Some of the other charging USB-C cables that I had did not work. Here I did find another cable that was able to function. So I plug it in and there I have the option to either mirror my MacBook over to here, or I could extend it, which makes it super easy. So I can just come over here and there we have our full computer. Let's see if we pull up something, does the keyboard do anything? All right, so there while I'm plugged in, it does allow me to use the keyboard on the NextDock, which is cool, but I am not able to use the mouse. So that's a bit bummer, but other devices, one cable will be able to do the keyboard as well as the mouse, which is really neat. So those are all the ways in which I would use the NextDock in my home. Now there's a bunch of unique situations in which you might want to use this, even if you just want to pick this up to use with your phone on the go, or you want to also use it at home with your laptop as an external monitor. I think that's a great option, having that dual purpose. And there's kind of endless options that you might want to use this for. Some like the NVR, maybe you have a server that you need to quickly plug into and have this be ready to go, and you don't want to bring a laptop that kind of gets more complicated on things you have to do to get that working. This is a great option. Now, one other option that you have other than the phones and things that are out that we've talked about is the brand new NextPhone. Now, this was just barely announced, so you can pre-order now for $199, and that locks in the $549 price, and then you'll pay once it's fully available. But it's going to run Android, so you're going to use that as like your daily driver, but then you also have the option to boot it into Linux, And you can also reboot it into Windows 11, and you'll be able to plug that into the NextDock to have a full Windows 11 experience, to have the full Linux on here. And they've really done some cool things where you can have a better Windows experience right on the small phone, but then you plug it in and you get that full experience on here. I think this is really cool, a really unique option. So I'll leave all the details down in the description below. If this is something you want to check out, you can go read more about how this is going to work. But that's going to be kind of the perfect companion where you have one mobile device that is running multiple operating systems, and then you can use your bigger display to kind of choose how you're going to interact with the phone and utilize those. I can think of many things, like I'm curious if video editing with DaVinci Resolve would work on that phone. You know, might be a little slow, but it probably would work because you have that full Windows 11 and you can run all of those apps. So there you go. I think the NextDock 6 is a pretty great device, especially for the price that you get, having that full big 14-inch screen and the great keyboard. As for the trackpad, I think it has done some really good job in improvements. They could maybe tweak it just a little bit so it doesn't have to click so hard, but I think it's going to be great after a little bit of usage, something that you will easily get used to. So if you have any further questions about this or the NextPhone, let me know down in the comments below. Thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next one.